Peace, family. So we back with another one. Today what I wanted to do was I wanted to talk to my chosen ones about how they never, ever expected this from you. They never expected this from you. And what I mean by they never expected this from you, they didn't expect you to shift. They didn't expect you to change in a more righteous way. They didn't expect you to grow closer to the Creator. They didn't expect a lot of these things out of you, because for a lot of them, we was either born in the household with them, or they met us at a different vibration and frequency. Man, this is huge. I don't know why the people who use the other playbook assumes that we live our lives like the 51st dates the same as they do, and we do not. We do not have the same processors. We do not have the same RAM speed. We don't even use the same screensavers. And I had somebody make a statement recently about trying to get me to condone into these holy days that we celebrate over here in this Western culture. And they had a position of trying to make me feel bad and guilty because when they met me, I didn't have as much knowledge and information. I had the experiences, but I didn't have the knowledge and information, meaning I wasn't researching and learning the same way that I research and I learn now. And for some reason, for them, it's always such a huge surprise that we choose to transition our lives the way we do. And we put ourselves in positions, and the Creator also makes ways for us to grow closer and have more of a bond, a close-knit relationship with the Creator. When we are out here operating in this realm, a lot of people want to keep us in the spaces that we are in. One, because it's easier to deceive us to a degree. It's easier for them to use their manipulation tactics. It's also easier for us to be more prone and susceptible to their word spells. In our minds, in our worlds, we know that we're always changing and shifting. Yes, it's still moving with Source and the Creator, but the way the process and the flows work, you get more intricate and you get more detailed, and you also are moving up levels. You know, when you look at any structural balance that has like police, military, even if you look at the jobs, you know what I mean? Like if you're a regular employee, you don't get the same training and the same knowledge that the managers get, you know? And the managers don't get the same training and information that the higher-ups get, meaning the district managers. You don't get the next source of information until you move up. If you don't move up, then you stay with the same information that you have. So if you've been a dishwasher your whole life, you won't learn how to get on the grill and cook, because you haven't transitioned over. You just, every job you go to, they just put you in the addition position because you haven't gained any more experiences outside of that. Same thing with this spiritual realm. I had the mother of my child recently asked me to come over and help me decorate the house, and I was like, the hell look like decorating the house for Halloween? Oh, well, when we first met, you used to do, you know, all the Halloweens and the Christmases and all these holidays and things of that nature. And it's like, yeah, I did, but I also was in a hard space of transitioning out of that. In that space, when we was involved, I probably had like 2 to 3 years of holidays in me. But before we started separating, by the time we got to like our last 2 years or so, I was branching away. I wasn't celebrating anymore. I had already mentioned to her when we was in that space that I'm not doing no more holidays. That's not something that's conducive with me, and it's not something that's helping me better myself spiritually, and it's not moving me anywhere physically. And it's like, I can teach and show my daughter these things, why we shouldn't and why we don't need to. But then on the other side of the spectrum, they give no reasons as far as why they shouldn't be doing these things, or since they are doing them, they don't give any legitimate reasons why they are doing them. Every one of them use the same lame ass excuse. Oh, I just do it for fun. That is something that is very detrimental to them and to the people around them. If you just did things and put your own reason and cause on it, you're still doing it. You're still doing it. So wouldn't that be you still giving that same energy to those same entities that set it up and designed it that way, for them to utilize that vibration, that frequency, that power that's being given to them on those days? That doesn't make any sense to me. You know, and you can put other examples in place, you know, because a lot of beings have a hard time with some of these things. And it's usually the ones that's either bouncing around in the middle. Not us so much over here, because I run into not a lot, but I run into a handful of people that, you know, they have been moving and getting closer to source, and they no longer are celebrating these holidays, you know. And I have to break these down, and I give these examples, you know. I show, I don't really care for book reading, you know. I done read over hundreds of books, but I don't really care for book reading, you know. If they shut the world down right now, then book reading wouldn't be the only source of knowledge and information. The real source of knowledge and information is the elderly people, the ones who've walked this realm longer than us, that has the knowledge and the experience. Now, whether they are moving with the demonic team or not, that's still a walking library that you can gain a lot of knowledge from. You either gonna learn a lot about the witchy team and know what not to do, how to operate against it, or you're gonna be operating with the ones who grew closer to source, and you're gonna understand a lot of these things that's happening. They're gonna show you how to build a deeper, much more valuable connection with source. She had did this thing to me a couple times, asking if I wanted to come decorate, and I was just, my mind would just, it couldn't even fathom giving that team that energy and that vibration anymore. You know, I would have never done it anyways, but when it was asked to me the second time, or the third time, I don't remember, she asked multiple times, but yeah, I don't have one of them situations where it's like, oh, that's your, you know, some people separate and they keep being engaged with their BM. That's not me. Once I'm done, I'm done. You should have never broke it off, slid, moved on. We should have never parted our ways. It should have never been any of that. Since it is what it is. Last time this was mentioned to me, though, I didn't give the same reasoning that I gave the first time, which is, you know, I don't celebrate these holidays because they have pagan roots to them, you know. It's deeper than just fun and candy. Everything that's happening has an actual meaning behind it. What I did was, the last time it was mentioned to me, I referred to, oh, she said, oh, you not the same that you used to be, or you used to celebrate this stuff. And I was like, yeah, I don't celebrate no more because I grew closer to source. I grew closer to God. I grew a deeper connection with the Creator. She wasn't expecting that response. You cannot fight back. You cannot push back. The demons are extremely weak as far as overall. Now, they do have a facade, and they do run in packs, and they got the system which gives them the power that they feel they need to do certain things. You can look at, you know, some gangs, and like today's society, not when gangs first started, but today's society, a lot of beings, you'll see males using gangs for protection, you know. So these may be people who didn't fight a whole lot growing up or was in any physical altercations, you know, people who didn't really address conflict, they avoided conflict, all of these kind of things, you know what I mean? And they join these gangs. Now they got a whole force behind them. So now they feel like they are more energized. They feel like they got more momentum. They feel like the battery in their back is stronger to push them to be a little bit more courageous. You know what I mean? And we can look at that the same way over there. Our connection with Source and the Creator is something that is uncomparable, you know. It's pretty hard for them to fathom us going from where we was at, where they met us at, or if you was born in the house, how they seen you brought up for many years, to transitioning out of that space. This isn't like you changing jobs, you know what I mean? Because you can change jobs, but your principles, morals, and values don't change, because a job is compensated with the paycheck. So you can go from being a firefighter to a police officer, you know. That wouldn't have any effect as far as your principles, morals, and values. But if you changing and rotating all of these things, but you no longer are wearing the same shoes, you realize your vibration is radiating a lot more, you realize you're less tolerable of people who are constantly a source of friction. A lot of these things I like to use and utilize in real lifetime, because like I always say, we all got to get off of this realm one way or another. So understanding these things, it puts less fear in your heart. We already understand that Source, the closer you grow to Source, the more fear is removed. The further away from Source you are, the more engulfed you are in fear. So you can look at your everyday life and you can kind of judge where you are at on the balancing scale by how much you actually have fear leading your life. Are you someone who won't cross the street without the light changing a certain way because you're in fear that you may get a ticket, or you are in fear of certain consequences that may happen from the demonic team? A lot of people are afraid of the demonic team consequences, and it's like they push the creators, they push what the Creator has designed for us in our actual blueprint structure to the side, because they cannot actually physically touch the Creator. A lot of things have been transpiring and happening, and they never expected us to take the avenues and the routes that we did. It eliminates a whole lot of witchcraft that you have to deal with, that you'll have to manage and tolerate. It's still gonna be there. It's not gonna stop. I'm not saying like, oh, you start doing it this way and then all of a sudden it stops. No. What I'm saying is it minimizes it. They don't like the fact that we are actually standing solid on something more righteous, something more valuable. They don't like the fact that we understand where our morals lie at. A lot of beings out here, you can see content all over the place talking about some, I want, I got certain morals and values that I live by. Their morals and values are trash, ass. They belong in the dumpster, in the can, because it's not connected to Source. They are on this individualized concept where they are the end all by all, any means necessary, They are putting themselves in the position of, oh, they're the creator of all things. If you are made in the image or the likeness of your creator or your God, then you should understand that you're a reflection of source. So that doesn't mean that what you have transpiring in your life, you've created it all for yourself. You have to do some work, but whether you get the thumbs up or thumbs down comes from source. Why do you think we all still have to battle so hard and fight so hard right now? This is why it's important for us to always make sure that we are practicing daily the things that we need to do, the routines, the rituals, however you want to word it, whatever you want to call it. We have to practice these things because these demonic forces are working every day, all day, no days off. I've been tired of this shit the past week or so, and I still cannot get no days off. And I'm not talking about just from spiritual battles, but from this physical slavery that we're in that people still don't want to grasp the concept of. You're working a job to solely pay bills on a house that you don't own. We don't own anything anymore. You know, we don't really get to build the way we like to. Everything is monetized, so it lowers the value on certain things and certain concepts when you put yourself in that space. And then it takes a whole arm, 2 legs, you know, a ear, a nose, all of these things to even get a piece of land when we used to be able to just roam, find space, start building by hand. But some beings cannot process this in the inside. And then you have others that don't want to process this on the inside. I would, as far as all my obstacles and trials and tribulations I've been through, like, as hard as they've been, I wouldn't trade them for the world because I wouldn't have got to know source the way I do. I wouldn't be so adamant and so upfront about the creator and the source. You know, I grew up in a church, but I didn't talk about church when I was out of church. It is what it is. Like, I'm taking naps in church, sleeping in church. Like, I'm playing around with my brothers and my cousins in church. You know, we doing whatever we wanted to do in the church. It didn't have the same impact. They didn't teach us the proper way in the churches. I have these conversations and these practices with my daughter, and she understands source and creator. But at her age, I was being forced into a church where it wasn't really registering to me because they wasn't giving it to me or teaching me on the level that I am. So if I'm in church, my daughter about to be 9, let's say I'm in church at 9 years old, 3rd grade. Instead of me being in church in 3rd grade and them giving me 3rd grade creator lessons, they're giving me college courses and lessons as a 3rd grader on creator and source, and it doesn't register to me. They're planting seeds, but it doesn't register. Once it registered to all of us, it shifted everything. They don't even, the other beings, they hate the fact that we grew such a strong connection over there because they're not able to. It's kind of like I'm sitting here, creator's sitting here. You know what I mean? This is how it used to be when we were little, and then they'll just sit right in the middle of us. But since we've built this bond and this connection with source, now I'm right here, source is right here. It's harder to get in between that wedge. You can't just wiggle your way and sit in between us without getting on either one of our laps and affecting us. We're gonna move you the fuck out the way. It's that simple, you know? They understand what the Most High is and the highest powers. They understand. That's why a lot of them actually cross our paths because they're looking for some sort of redemption or forgiveness. Not from us. We are just like a checkpoint. We are kind of like the middleman. So that would allow them to, you know, start working on their forgiveness through us with source. Once we built this bond even stronger with source, it's hard to go back. Like, you literally have to be whipped for the weaker ones. Cause I'm one of them people, once you whip me, it's over with. Like, it's like when I used to watch movies, like we watched a lot of horror movies growing up. So when they show scenes or cop movies where people are getting tortured, cutting fingers off, limbs off, all this stuff, it's like, once you cut my finger off, you might as well go ahead and get me up out of here, because I'm not sharing no information. There's no amount of torture you're going to be able to do that's going to have me spilling out whatever it is you're trying to get me to spill out. I will ride it till the wheels fall off, because once the pain is already stopped, I'm just going to let it ride until, I'm on to my next journey, wherever the source decides to send me to, whether I'm going back up there with source or whether source just has another destination for me. They didn't expect any of this. It throws them all completely off. Before, when you used to be in that space and you used to try to have conversations and talks with them, it felt like they could do a lot of back and forth and combating with you. But now you make too much sense for them to be combative without seeming extremely stupid, little, mentally challenged, extremely low vibrational, all these things that will go into this basket over here. Because when you start combating creator, it shows what playbook you're using. It shows who your real leader is. It shows what team you riding for. And nobody out here wants to say that they ride with the devil, even though everybody be on demon time. That's how you know it's bullshit. How you want to be on demon time, but you don't want to take ownership of your daddy and the devil. Lying, manipulation, deception, destruction, I'm missing a couple other spell words, all goes into their book. So you shouldn't be surprised when you see them lying over little stuff or lying over big stuff. It's what they do. But never take back your growth, your positioning with source. We get way more power from source. Way more power. We get way more leverage from source. You gained deeper roots by your connection with source. Being connected with source is kind of like how the trees connect with each other. We underground and we're all holding on to each other. You don't see it above ground, but underground, all of these trees' roots are intertwined with each other. Every single one of them. So just keep these things in mind, you know what I mean? A lot of them do not like the fact that we grew a deeper connection with source, because we are not easily manipulated or deceived anymore. We don't give as many passes as we used to anymore. We're faster to cut people off and push people to the side these days. Even if you do give somebody an opportunity, you still have no problem hitting that light switch. For some reason, people feel as though, like, because you give love right now and then you have to hit the switch on somebody, that means you're a different person. No, I'm the same person. It's just that when you turn the lights off in a dark room, your eyes, they dilate? They get bigger so you can see better in the dark. Is it bigger or smaller? I forget. Somebody let me know in the comments. I'm pretty sure I think they get bigger. I'm pretty sure your pupils get bigger when you are in those spaces, you know what I mean? But just keep these things in mind, you know what I mean? Don't ever let them deter you, turn you away, make you shift away from your connection with source. If they want to indulge into all this new age, I don't want to call it new age. If they want to indulge into all this witchcraft, all this lying and deception and manipulation, all this weird stuff that comes packaged up in a real nice, pretty package, they can have that. Let them keep that over there. You know what I mean? But I ain't want to run it up too long. Tapping everything down below. Peace and love to you.